Hi, welcome back. Have you ever lost someone and something strange happened? Not once, but kind of over and over.
Oh,
That's what we're going to talk about this
okay,
week.
that's good. But before we do that,
Mhm.
let's start something new with doing a then and now each week, just really quick at the intro.
You got
Okay?
it.
Did you
Sure.
have anything that happened this week?
No.
Okay. Well, I did.
Thank
It's
goodness.
it's really simple, but it was time to pay our pleasant to look at podcast guy. And normally, back then, I would have received an invoice in the mail and I would have written out a check and I would have put it back in the mail. But we probably would have got it like in a couple of days because the mail used to be like every other day.
Right.
You'd get whatever you mail. But so now I had to learn how to do Zelle.
You did Zelle.
I did Zelle.
So proud. So proud.
So that's a then and now that just happened this week that,
Good for you.
yeah.
Good
Yeah,
for
I was
you.
proud about that.
Oh, the stamps price is going to just plummet or
Okay.
go up.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so what's your story?
Well, like I said, we're gonna talk about some really strange things that happen. It's a pretty serious, topic, I guess. But I wanted to start it out with just kind of funny, so you can have some back on my family. When my mom died, as you know, we've never had as kids had any experience with death or having to prepare for a funeral or what the etiquette was or what you do.
Were you raised in church? I don't remember.
No,
Yeah, I
no,
didn't
my
think
dad
so. Yeah.
actually was not had no religion or whatever. You probably was on the cusp of being almost atheist,
Oh wow.
but things changed. But I was over at his house one day, and at the time he was already dating a lady next door. He talked about before, and I noticed my mother's ashes were sitting in the chair.
Just in an urn in a chair.
Oh, an urn? Oh, we didn't know you're supposed to have an urn. It was in the box.
Oh dear.
And so I was so upset with my dad, and I picked it up, took it to my house. I'm thinking about it. We always, as kids, argued over. We always figured Dad was older, Dad had high blood pressure, Dad was always going to go first,
Sure.
and then we were all going to argue over who was going to end up with Mom.
Sure.
And so Cindy's husband was a preacher, and he'd always said, being as kind as he is, that, sure, Mom could come and live with us. I think it was a high wager for him, but anyway, so she did pass first, and she was cremated. So I took her to my house, and I called my sister, and I said, "Well, Cindy, I got some good news, and I got some bad news." And she goes, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, Mom's coming to live with you."
Oh
I
goodness.
said, "That's the good news.
Yeah.
The bad, or that was a bad." I said, "That's kind of the bad news. The good news is, instead of having to clean out a room, you only need to clean out a shelf on the closet."
Oh.
Anyway, we had to laugh. My mom would have appreciated,
Yeah.
really would have appreciated that. But
She
anyway,
would.
so we had no idea when she died. My uncle prepared, because she and my grandmother died just a few days apart,
Yeah.
and my mom's. When we took her to Tulsa, we put her ashes in with my grandmother, and this is kind of sad because we didn't know about an urn, or you could get a little casket, or you do any of that kind of stuff. And
I guess that's fortunate that you didn't have experience
No.
with death because
Yeah.
I mean,
or what we
Yeah.
did have somebody else always handled.
oh
We
okay.
were really naive, and my uncle prepared everything for my mother. They had the little hole, and we had a little service and stuff. But my dad, when he passed, called the relatives, and my aunt, who was kind of the last living aunt on his side of the family, was kind of the monarch of the family.
Mhm.
We called her, and Dad had said, well, he would just want his ashes could just go to he didn't really care. They could just go to the Veterans Memorial thing.
Okay.
And so we thought they'd I called it to her. She says, no. Your dad needs to go in the family plot
Oh,
right
dear.
next to his dad, who he didn't really care for,
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, they said, we got a plot here. It's available for him, and that's where he needs. So we really respected her, loved
Sure.
her, and we thought, well, that's good. At least they'll both be in Tulsa.
Yeah.
So Cindy and I go to Tulsa. About Dad probably been, hate to say this, but probably been gone 3 or 4 months since he's been up there. He FedExed him right on up from the cremation place.
Do you really FedEx?
Oh yeah. So they saved him for us. So we went up there and we made the arrangements for that, and showed him where his plot was going to be. They had all that done. So it comes time for Cindy and I to go to Tulsa to lay my dear father to rest. It was just me and my sister. We had told my aunt we were coming up. Well, and so we stopped, and we were, lagged. We didn't care. We didn't really. We thought it was just us.
Yeah, right.
And Cindy had just had surgery. And we walk up, we're driving around the curve. We're looking, oh, look, somebody else is having a funeral. See, and I pictured that we were going to take my dad's ashes and the hoe would be there, and Cindy and I would, cry, talk to Dad, and we would put the ashes in the little, we didn't know.
Yeah.
And but we did know when we went. It was funny when we did go to make the arrangements for them to open. We tell them when they're going to open and what they're going to do, and they asked us about the urn or what he was going to be put in, and we're like, "Oh, really? You can do that?" They said, "Yeah, for it was like $500. They get this little thing." And I said, "Oh, well, let's upgrade him." Yeah. I mean, we felt a little guilty. It was a nicer place my mom was at, and he was upgraded to a premium package with a little casket.
Yeah,
it looks like a little
Barbie doll casket.
No, it was about like this.
Okay,
I mean, he was a big man.
Oh, bless his soul.
Serious. I mean, so Cindy and I, we're driving around the corner and we look. And there's all of our cousins that live there.
Oh,
my aunt's there. They've put out a big cover over the place.
Oh,
and
my goodness.
They have green carpet laid down, or looks like grass. And we just look. We're like, oh, we weren't expecting. My cousin comes running up to one of us and said, is a preacher here who's going to do the officiating or whatever it's called?
Oh, my goodness.
And I kind of looked at Cindy and I said, well, it's okay. I can do it. So Cindy hobbles on up there, and
she's the preacher's wife.
She's the preacher's wife, you would think.
Yeah.
But she did just have surgery, and was on a crutches kind of for a leg. So I start trying to say, well, my dad would be so happy that you guys are here. I'm so glad everyone came. And they got a little casket, sitting there right beside me. And then we're sitting there, and Cindy for some reason, starts talking about her foot surgery to everybody.
Right in the middle of the...
Yes. So I get her quiet, and I'm trying to finish officiating this service.
I think you had to be there.
And out of nowhere, Cindy starts screaming, "Oh, Daddy!"
Oh, no!
Yes! All I can do is just look at her. And I know I'm going to get this show.
That's a shit show.
I'm thinking, we know I got to get this show. I got to get this show on the road. So it's sitting there. So then I get this brilliant idea. Then I get this brilliant idea. The brain's just moving, just ticking away. How nice it will be if I take that casket and I put it in the ground. Now, mind you, I did not realize that, a groundkeeper comes and digs a hole and they put the carpeting over it. So when I said, well, I'm going to put him in the ground. I think I'm going to lift him too. Kind of lift him. I think it's really heavy. They bring the groundskeeper, and he rolls the grass all back, or the rug.
Oh.
There's that hole. It's a little harder and a lot deeper than I thought.
Yeah, I was going to say, how deep do ashes go versus the body?
It was pretty deep. It was deep enough I was almost on my stomach.
to putting lower him.
And he had to try to gracefully lower this man into this hole.
Oh my
And,
goodness.
and I was like, this is, like I said, and then they end up rolling half because then we wanted to see where my aunt and uncle all were. They had to move the chairs all
Oh
over.
my goodness.
It was so funny.
Oh
I mean,
my
it's awful to
goodness.
say. My
Yeah.
dad would have totally enjoyed it.
But he,
Got
okay.
to tell you,
okay.
he had to be up there probably thinking, "Oh my God, you girls, have you totally lost it?"
Oh my
And
goodness.
then we go to the car to get in, and so we're going to drive to my aunt's because they've prepared food.
Oh, sure.
I mean, so we get in the car, and I just look at Cindy, and I go, "Well, that went well." Didn't it?
Oh my
And Cindy
goodness.
just looks at me and she says, "I've never felt so hillbilly in my life."
Well, the good thing is that your dad would have gotten a kick out of it.
Oh, he
you
was
know.
up there. He was up there laughing.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
sure that he and
Yeah.
Mom were just having a hoot watching us. But that was one for the
That was one for the memory.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
one for the books.
Yeah,
Let me
for
tell you,
sure.
I'm sure everybody that was there totally remembers that. It was rememberable.
Yeah.
It was, and I
sure.
haven't been asked to officiate. any
Remind me if I go first. You're not officiating.
I'm not officiating. Okay, but see, a lot of people feel like that now.
Oh my goodness, that's
So,
hilarious.
have you had I mean, I know you lost your dad and family members. Have you had any strange things or things that happened?
I don't think so. On a more serious level, I was fortunate enough to spend the last 3 days with my dad
Aw.
before he passed. It was me and my sisters and my mom, of course, and my niece. But Dad had congestive heart failure, so it took about a year, and then he just kind of slowly slipped into the coma.
Deteriorated.
It just slipped into a coma and everything. But I think it was an experience, though, and I would not trade that for the world. To be with him that whole time. And, the last 3 days, basically, he was in the coma, but, with the eyes open, and we had hospice and stuff
Right.
that was keeping us informed of what to expect and the stages he was going through and stuff like that. So it was a really nice experience. And my dad was very, very much a strong Christian man.
Right.
And we were raised in the church.
I remember that.
Yeah. But so he had almost every single Bible verse written down on an index card.
Oh, how nice.
So we would take turns. I remember doing it. I'm sure my sisters, we all took turns, but we just sat there just hour after hour just going through those.
Oh.
And I have to laugh because one of them was one of the verses, and I'm sorry, I don't know. Oh, hello, Kenyon.
Oh, here's our Kenya.
Well, which
you
we'll
come to
talk
visit?
about him a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, why don't you go lay back down? This is my German Shepherd, Kenyon.
Yeah, and
My-
he's
he wants to join the podcast.
he's having some health issues.
Yeah.
And he's just the best thing.
Yeah.
He's just so lovely.
Yeah. But anyway, so we just read hours and hours of scriptures. But one we came upon was, and I'm sorry, I don't know my Bible that well, but it was like, nothing's worse for a man than a wicked woman. So my sisters and I are looking at each other like, okay, thinking about my mom. I know.
There's a moment.
Yeah. But it was very peaceful, and I was glad I was there. So that's really the only experience I've had. I've been pretty fortunate and blessed, too, that we really haven't had
Lost anyone.
Yeah. If we want to just real quickly, Kenyon, my German Shepherd, who's been my running buddy for 7 years. I mean,
Oh,
almost
wow.
every day out on the trails, out on the park, and I'm just heartbroken that he now has cancer. So I don't look forward to that. But anyway, we'll discuss that more later. But he did make himself want to be part of this today.
Well, I think
so-
that's important. I'll tell
Yeah.
you what, when you lose a pet, that is just
It
it's
is.
hard. They are part of the family
And,
member.
I wish I knew. And I guess we should talk about this a little bit. You're talking about things that happen and maybe beliefs and how your dad, what
Mhm.
he believed or didn't believe or anything. But I wish I knew that, those little guys were going to be in heaven too.
Oh, I think that
I don't know. I hope so.
I believe they are. I really do. When I was my little Maltese that had him for 15 years, it was the most devastating thing I've ever experienced. It was
can't imagine.
well,
Well,
besides my
we are
parents.
talking about your parents, but yeah, I know.
But I mean,
No,
it
know.
was just
Yeah.
it was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But
Well, yeah.
But
Tell me
I
about.
was going to say the first experience I ever had, and which I'm a firm believer, is I was young. I was probably in my 20s, or yeah, probably 30s, but that's here nor there. And I had this old car, this station wagon, and the
What happened
kids
to
were
the
little.
Maverick? It was gone.
It
huh?
was gone. This was we in fact everybody left me a funny conversation. We called it the Hearst
Oh,
because it was a huge. It was back then. It was a big Impala station.
oh, yeah.
wagon.
Sure.
And the transmission had gone out on it, and my dad was coming over the next morning, and they were going to tow it or take it over to the place and to get the transmission fixed for
Mhm.
me. And so that night I woke up, and to this day I swear it was so real. I had this big, remember those big wicker chairs
Of
they
course.
had back,
Yeah. Oh,
back
yeah.
then? I had this big wicker chair at the end of my bed, and I woke up, and I was real close to my dad's mother, my grandmother.
Uh-huh.
She used to worry about me because I was single,
Right.
and she had been single, and she said, she used to always say, you just really wish you would find someone. She says, growing old alone is just not, it's just not natural, she'd say. And she worried about me.
Okay.
And I woke up, and she was, she
Wow.
was there.
Wow. I mean,
And
visually, you could
Visually,
see?
it was just like I was
Wow.
awake. And she said, I know you've been worried about me,
Oh.
and I just want you to know I'm okay.
Wow.
And everything is fine. And she came to the end of the bed, and the kids were little at that time. They were actually sleeping with me. And she went over, and she actually bent over and again kissed Michael, my youngest. And she said, these boys are very special.
Oh, wow.
And then, and I couldn't believe it. I told me every mix of March. I mean, it was just the most realistic. If it was a dream I've ever had, and
But you would swear you were awake, and
I
this
would
is what
swear
happened. Wow.
to this day.
Okay. Yeah.
And we went in. My dad got there to take my car to get fixed with the transmission,
Uh-huh.
and it worked.
Wow.
It worked.
That's
And
amazing.
before, when
Yeah.
it would not. I think it wouldn't back up.
Mhm. We can't explain those things.
And it worked. We still took it in. He still took it and
Yeah.
had it checked.
Yeah.
But that was the weirdest.
Wow.
That was the weirdest thing
Yeah,
I've ever experienced.
I haven't had anything like that happen
Oh, that was really weird.
that I can remember.
It
I
was so
guess.
real. I
Yeah.
mean, it was very realistic. And then when my mom was a firecracker,
Mhm.
she was a fire with no boundaries.
Yeah.
I wonder where I get
Yeah.
that from. Anyway, when she passed, it was so strange. I could tell when they on her dying-bed, I said I was going to take care of everybody. I
Mhm.
was going to be, like her, everybody. And Dad had gotten a thing in the mail that there were some tree limbs that were growing over the street,
Uh-huh.
and they needed to be trimmed. Well, there was no way I was going to let my dad trim those trees.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, okay, if I go over every evening after work and trim some of them myself, I can do it. And so was over there, and then my brother came over, and we were trimming the tree. My dad was grabbing these. We just bought some new clippers he had for the tree
Mhm.
thing, and I was yelling at Dad. I said, Dad, please, stop this. You don't need to be doing this. Chuck and I are doing it. Please just go sit down.
Mhm.
I need to sit down. I can do this. And I'd got him a chair and everything my mother would have done.
Yeah.
Dad, please sit down. Here's your chair. Here's just some ice water. You're
Yeah.
getting too hot.
Right.
Don't do. Oh, I can.
Here's
do,
a Heineken.
I can do this. Yeah. Here's a Heineken. Yeah. And I said, you could do that. And he was trimming, and all of a sudden he looked so funny. And he looked at us, and he held up those clippers that he had, and the handle was broken. Big, thick wooden
Wow.
handle broke. And the first thing he says, do you think your mom was trying to tell me something? I said, yes, get your butt over here and sit down.
Wow.
Sit down. And that was really strange.
Right.
And then Chuck, if he was and then my dad, like we said, he was everything there was a scientific reason of everything.
Okay.
For everything.
Right. Sure.
Never, ever would he,
A
I mean, I hate to
higher
say it, I
being
think
or
there was a
anything,
higher
so,
being.
yeah,
It was
right.
scientific. And then he kept saying he was getting these weird, he just felt Mom was there. He said sometimes it felt being alone without her there, like it was one of his
Now,
limbs
where
were
was
cut
this
off.
in the time frame of when he was dating or married the next door neighbor?
Well,
or,
and
or was it?
well,
just-
if you ask him, now this is funny. If you ask him, he's going to say my mother had something with him dating the next door neighbor that he just had this. Yeah, that he just had this urn to go.
Okay.
All I'm going to say is,
Yeah,
no,
okay.
I'm not even going to go there.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it was called urn.
No. Dear.
Or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, but that's what he wants to,
Okay.
in his heart, that's what he thought.
Okay.
Okay. So my brother, so when all this different things happened,
Mhm.
it was like, there was just Dad was just kind of, he really questioned he became more aware that this is some pretty weird.
So maybe
some
there is
things.
something going on.
Maybe there is something
in the
going
spiritual
on.
world.
And Chuck, my brother, he's kind of scientific, and he too. He's doesn't show emotion or anything. Like my dad was, and he was telling us that he said he came home from work. It's been a stressful day, and I've never seen Chuck cry since he was a little baby, and I hit
Aw.
him on top of the head with a bat. Never seen him. Did some pretty mean stuff to him.
Sure.
Too. But anyway, he said he walked in and he said he just hit him, that she was gone
Oh yeah.
and everything. And he said he was started uncontrollably sobbing. And he said he called it a pity party. He was just having a real pity party. And he was sitting way away from the couch, the TV. And back then, I don't think he even had a remote for his
Right.
TV. There was nothing.
Uh-huh.
And all of a sudden, his TV came on.
Wow.
And he felt this real sense of peace kind of come over him like that. And to this day, he'll tell you that he knows that was Mother telling him that he was okay, that she was okay.
My goodness.
Isn't that strange?
That is.
Yeah. So
Wow.
after all that stuff happened, then Dad really, like I said, he changed his mind, and he said at one point when he was getting ill,
Mm-hmm.
he was in an ambulance, and he had bypass surgery.
Okay.
And he actually died. And they had to bring him, and they had to
okay.
bring him back.
Okay.
And he talks about when that happened. He said that everything, he didn't know if that was when it happened,
Uh-huh.
but when he told the story, he said, I died, and he said that everything went completely dark, just completely black. There was no light.
Okay,
like
no
they
light,
say, there was
okay.
no light. He said it was just pitch black, and he said, but there was the strangest peace.
Wow.
He said peace just went.
So not fear.
Not fear,
And you're-
no peace.
yeah,
just
peace,
he
yeah.
said just total peace went through him. And then the next thing he remembered is kind of waking up and paramedics and people around him.
I love that.
And I have a customer I call on, and this gentleman he passed, but
Mhm.
I was talking to his wife and his son who was running the company after he passed. And what was so strange is we were talking about that,
Uh-huh.
and they started telling the story about when her husband was in the hospital, because they were talking about him,
Yeah.
because I'd known him for years,
Mhm.
wonderful man. And she was talking about how he had died, and he was saved on the thing, and that she said, and then she started talking about how he had told them that it was pitch black. He saw total darkness and the peace. And then they laughed and they said, yeah, she said, I actually think when he came back around, I actually think he was kind of mad that
Yeah.
we
Kind
that
of
we-
disappointed.
disappointed that we brought him back. And I told him, I said, oh my God, I said, I swear to you, this is the same thing that my dad had
That's
said.
so interesting.
So when dad did pass, it was really funny. He had changed his mind.
Did he?
He said he didn't know he still was questioning if ever it got. He said, but I can tell you this, there's something.
Wow.
There's definitely something. So
Okay.
that was really, that was very peaceful.
That's very peaceful
know.
and comforting to
to
you and the
know.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. So those are our stories, and I can't believe you don't. I'm sure you want to.
I
share
don't. The only
anything?
one I have is we're still alive after everything we went through.
Yeah, we came close probably.
I know. So I know
we survived.
yeah.
You look at the things we went through,
Yeah.
and you do wonder
And we're
how
fine. I mean,
everything.
Yeah. I mean, I used to hitchhike and just all
Gosh.
kinds of stuff. I mean, sometimes I'm just amazed that I'm still here,
Ah,
and some of the things that we did, which comes full circle. This was a little bit heavy,
right.
a little bit serious. So I think it's time just to kind of let loose.
I agree. Let's have some fun.
I think the next one, I think I'm going to open a bottle of wine.
Oh.
And and I think we're just going to tell some funny stories if we have them. Or I have something that I want to tell from our past that I just can't believe we did.
Oh, there's several. This ought to be good.
I know. So what do you think about that?
I think it's great. So I tell you what, if they come back, they're going to see us uncensored and unhinged.
Oh,
drinking.
I don't know about all the way.
So we're going to share stories that from here we're you're almost 70, I'm 70.
Yep.
Funny story. Let's hear the funniest thing that's ever happened, the most embarrassing moments we've ever had.
I'll try to remember.
It's going to be a fun.
Your memory is so much better.
Oh, I don't know. It's going to be a fun episode.
Okay, I love it.
Okay. Listen, this is it for today. Be sure and subscribe, like, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you.